Welcome to the documentary about the incredible journey of kelp, from its underwater habitat to its processing and packaging for the global market. Kelp farming has become an essential industry, not only for the food sector but also for environmental sustainability. Join us as we explore the cultivation, harvesting, and processing of kelp, one of the ocean's most valuable and versatile resources. Kelp is a large brown algae that grows in underwater forests in shallow coastal areas. These marine plants thrive in nutrient-rich waters and are fully exposed to sunlight that penetrates the ocean surface. The first stage of kelp farming involves selecting a location with suitable environmental conditions, cool water, a steady flow of nutrients, and an appropriate depth to ensure optimal growth. Kelp farms are typically established in coastal regions, and the process begins with collecting spores from healthy, mature kelp plants. Farmers then cultivate these spores in a controlled environment until they are ready to be transferred onto ropes or nets suspended underwater. These ropes serve as a foundation for the kelp to attach to, absorbing sunlight and nutrients from the seawater. After about 3 to 5 months, the kelp reaches maturity, with some species growing as 30 meters. Reaches maturity, the official harvesting process begins. In smaller scale farming areas, harvesting is typically carried out manually. Farmers use small boats to venture out to the kelp beds, where they carefully pull the kelp to the surface. They then use knives or specialized tools to cut the kelp, ensuring minimal damage. Every step requires a high level of skill and precision to avoid tearing the leaves, which helps maintain the quality and overall value of the harvested kelp. In large-scale kelp farms, harvesting has been mechanized with specialized equipment. These machines are designed to lift and cut the kelp from its base while preserving the roots, allowing the kelp to regrow in the future. This method not only reduces the time and labor compared to traditional manual harvesting, but also significantly increases production efficiency. After being pulled from the water, the kelp undergoes an immediate washing process. The seaweed is thoroughly cleaned to remove sand, small organisms, or debris that may have attached during its growth in the ocean. This initial cleaning stage is crucial to ensuring the quality of the product. In addition to being cleaned immediately after harvesting, kelp can also continue to be cultivated in oyster cages, a method of sustainable aquaculture. In this closed-loop ecosystem, kelp and oysters support each other. Kelp absorbs excess nutrients from the water, while oysters act as natural filters, removing plankton and organic particles, thereby cleaning the water. This process not only improves water quality but also optimizes farming space, reducing feed costs and other resources. This integrated farming method yields high profits and contributes to sustainable development. Once cleaned, the kelp is cut from its roots and transported to land. At this stage, protecting the kelp from damage is crucial. Farmers must ensure that the kelp is handled gently to avoid breaking or damaging its structure. Transport is often done carefully, sometimes using special vehicles to keep the kelp in optimal conditions and prevent bruising. The kelp is then taken to drying facilities near the coast, and the drying process is one of the most important stages in the kelp's journey. Since kelp has a high water content when freshly harvested, improper drying can lead to spoilage, fermentation, or mold growth. Therefore, reducing moisture drying not only extends the shelf life of kelp, but also enhances its mineral content, especially the nutrients beneficial for health. The process of drying seaweed involves spreading the strips of seaweed under sunlight or hanging them vertically on ropes, where they are exposed to natural air and sunlight for several days. To protect the seaweed from environmental factors, a thin layer of netting is placed over it. This netting helps prevent birds and insects from coming into contact with the seaweed while still allowing the necessary airflow for effective drying. Depending on the climate conditions and the desired dryness of the seaweed, the drying process can last from a few days to a week. Once the initial drying phase is complete, the kelp is checked for moisture levels. When the desired dryness is achieved, the kelp is neatly packed and transported to storage facilities. Here, kelp undergoes a second drying phase in a controlled environment. During this phase, the kelp is placed in drying chambers where temperature and airflow are regulated. This final drying process ensures that any remaining moisture is completely removed, making the kelp ready for long-term storage. Once fully dried, the kelp is stored in temperature-controlled warehouses until it is ready for further processing. The dried kelp is then transported to processing factories where it undergoes preparation for commercial use. In the factory, the kelp goes through a thorough process of cutting and packaging to ensure it is fully ready for distribution. The packaging process ensures that the kelp retains its freshness and nutritional value. Vacuum-sealed bags, airtight containers, or other types of packaging are used to preserve the quality of the seaweed until it reaches the consumer.